Alright, what is up? I am Geordie Trades. I am a profitable trader over the last few years with around 80% win rate trading inverted fair value gaps. I've got about 100k of payouts over the past year or so with Apex and a few other firms. And if you do want to learn how to trade and you feel like you're struggling with the markets, then watch this video because I'm going to show you some of the trades that I've taken recently. So here are my rules for my trades that I take. Major sweep, bullish reaction, big momentum, 3 candle V-shape if possible. 4 or 5 candle V-shapes are okay. You want to use an IFVG or an inverted fair value gap as your entry, targeting your 1-for-1 and then leaving runners for liquidity. And this is the whole strategy. And yesterday we got an absolutely insane trade. If you take a look at this, you can see we've got a very obvious accumulation here. We've got some really obvious lows down here that we did come down and sweep. We just missed these lows down here, which made me a bit hesitant about this trade. But you can see once we came down into this area here, swept out this low, we got an insanely bullish reaction. And then look at this, perfect. We got an inverted fair value gap here, and because the momentum was so insanely big, we actually got 2 inversions in one go, which you sometimes see, and this can be a major sign of a good trade. And then you can see very simply with my model, I just enter on the inversion. We've got the major sweep, we've got a bullish reaction, we've got big momentum, we've got a 3 or 4 candle V shape here. This was actually a 5 candle, but the momentum here really sold me. Look at how big this momentum was. And then we have got my entry here. Once we invert the fair value gap and close, I'll enter here, targeting a 1-for-1. I think I sized this one for about the region of here. So I think I took this with about 2 or 3 micros. And then basically just targeting a 1-for-1. And you can see here we've got such ridiculously obvious liquidity above. There was absolutely no way that we weren't going to sweep this in my opinion. So I basically just held this for about a 2-to-1. Close half at around 2-to-1. I risk about $200 per trade on about 30 accounts copy traded. So I would have made about $400 on this trade basically. And I trailed my last runner up a little bit further to about 2.5 or so. I made about $450, $500 per account on this trade. Absolutely incredible trade. Really obvious. Look how obvious this is. You've got your accumulation, manipulation. We come and sweep down this low and this low. We didn't quite hit these lows down here, so I didn't take this on all my accounts, but I did take them on my Lucids. And as you can see, really good trade. Really obvious. Inverted here. Just basically slammed all the way up straight through all this liquidity. And then you could have held a runner for massively higher. I was actually considering holding a runner for up here, considering the momentum, but we started pulling back in this area and then chopping around. So I just decided, you know what, I'm just going to close for, you know, $500 per account and call it a day. So this was a really good trade. Absolute banger. One of the best trades I've seen in a while. And I'm going to show you a few more different trades that have been happening recently. I think there was one on Monday, wasn't there? Was there one on Monday? No, Monday was the day that we just dumped and then dumped and then dumped. I'm sure that there was a trade. Another trade this week that was good. Maybe I'm thinking of last week. Monday was just a dump day. You can see we just dumped down here and then started messing around. There wasn't really anything good here. There was a short that people took, but it was a bit messy as you can see. Pretty obvious that we were going to come down and sweep these areas. I mostly just take longs. I basically don't ever take shorts because I find that shorts just basically... I'm a bit of a perma bull, to be honest. I think shorts basically just lower my win rate for no reason. So I don't take them. Friday, I think there was there a trade on Friday? Is this what I'm thinking of? I'm just going to circle this and look on the 1 minute because I'm pretty sure there was a really good trade last week. Was it this? There wasn't really a trade here either. Friday was just a giga pump off of the lows here. We did get sweeps, but we didn't get any actual entries. Recently, price has been quite hit and miss in terms of sweeping liquidity and bouncing, but you can see there are always potential trades that you can be taking once you look for these kind of inversions back to the upside. But in general, recently, price has been pretty ass, I can't lie. There was always a trade that I like to show for the best example from a few weeks ago, though, which is this one. This was actually like one of the best trades I've ever taken, and I love to show this one just because it's one of the best ones that I've ever seen. Price over the past week or two has been pretty bad at sweeping and delivering a reversal, but through January there were plenty of setups that were really good, and you can see here this one at the end of January was absolutely fantastic. This is a absolute beast of a trade. Look, you can see we open up. I wake up at about, what is it? I wake up at about 8 o'clock because, as you can probably tell, I'm on UK time. So I open up for I wake up for London Open rather. You can see we've got a new week opening gap. We filled this. We're looking quite bullish. I've gone and I've marked out all my lows like I always do. I told every single time that I open up the charts, I'll just go and mark out all the obvious lows like this, set alerts and then wait. And then if you look here, you can see we get a really nice, amazing sweep. And then look what we've got. This is just absolutely beautiful. We come down, we sweep liquidity, really obvious area of liquidity here. You can see this is really obvious liquidity, loads of stacked lows, this really obvious wick low. And then look at this reaction, absolutely perfect. 3 candle pattern V shape, good momentum back to the upside. Really, really bullish reaction on this 5-minute candle closure. Look at that. And then very simple, just enter. 3 candle pattern V shape. I'm sized for about halfway between the low and the gap here. So if we do come down and close below again, I'll close for about a $200 loss in that region there and call it a day. But you can see here, once I play this on, that was not the case. We came up and we hit my 1 for 1. At which point I usually scale half and go break even. So I took $100 off per account here and went break even on the rest. So this is a free trade now. I've got 2 more micros which I'm holding for higher delivery. You can see we pump up a little bit here. We wait for the next macro with a lot of chopping around. And then in the next macro we make another nice move to the upside. At this point I'm trailing another one of my micros in profit. We come up to about a 3 to 1 on this one and I close it. And as you can see here, this was about $200-ish. It's about 100 points away from here, so it's about $200. So I'm up about $300 on this trade, and I'm still got 1 more micro that I'm holding for higher because I think that we have switched delivery here, and it's pretty obvious to me that if we can break up above this level here, then we're probably going to go and sweep out all these highs here. So I'm holding, continuing to hold up through this area, and as you can see, when we hit New York Open, my final runner hits for about a 7 or an 8R up to this level here, at which point I close, because I don't want to get smashed on my consistency. But I took this on 30 accounts and basically got an absolutely insane bag for that day of about $500, $600, $700 per account. Pretty insane stuff. Really, really good time of things on that trade in particular. And there were quite a few good trades throughout January, to be honest. January was really, really good. To be honest, February has been a bit ass. It's been very hit and miss in terms of just chopping around, not doing too many good things. You can see there were a few trades here that were quite good that you could have taken in January. You can see the day after that trade that I just described here was the Tuesday. The day after the Tuesday here, this was another absolute banger. Really, really easy trade. You can see we're coming up here, we're bullish, we've got accumulation. We sweep down manipulation of a bunch of these lows. You can see just quite a lot of areas of liquidity here that we come down. You can see we get a really bullish reaction after hitting this really obvious trend line liquidity, which tells me that we're probably going to bounce and continue up, because usually if we're going to run liquidity, we'll just come down and swipe through all of this straight away. But you can see the reaction here told me that we were probably going to go back to the upside, and really we've formed some nice liquidity above here at this point. You can see quite clearly here that we have got some really obvious stacked highs. We come down, we come back up, and then we get this beautiful 5-minute trade. I took this with about 3 micros. I knew that we were just going to pump up back to this high, so I basically held up and trailed my stop up to about this level here. Got a 2 to 1 on 2 of the micros for this, so I made about $300, $350 on those first ones, and then basically I held the final runner on this trade up to about, I think I got up to about here, about a 3 or a 4 to 1, and then I was like, you know what, I'm just going to take the money. Made about $500, $600 on this trade as well on all my accounts. All of the criteria here fulfilled. Really, really good trade again. And then I think there was one more trade in this week that was really good. I think it was this. This was after FOMC. Look at this incredible, incredible V shape. This is the kind of thing that you want to be looking for. So this is the Wednesday after those 2 good trades. Look at this trade. This is absolutely ridiculous. Like, look at this is literally the kind of stuff you want to be looking for. It is a pretty insanely big stop loss in fairness, but let's look at the criteria. We've got ourselves a really, really shitty, choppy open on that Wednesday because we have got FOMC in the evening. So pretty obvious that we're going to have chop. Usually when you have news in the evening like that, you can get a lot of chop on the open. So no trades here. Obviously, this is really bad price action. Just chopping around with no real good delivery. But you can see here we create ourselves some liquidity below to come down and sweep after FOMC here. If I can actually get my shit together. There we go. And then you can see we came down with a massive momentum candle. Really, really super bearish sweep of liquidity. Please, I'm begging you. Just, why does it do this to me? Just hit the low. There we go. You can see we've got really, really obvious liquidity down here. We come down, we tap into this gap, and we've swept all this liquidity here. And then look at this reaction. This is absolutely ridiculous. This is an incredible, incredible reaction. The only problem with this trade is that the stop loss is like literally 100 points. So I could only take this with 1 micro because I obviously risk $200 per trade. You can see for my quantity on my risk tool, I've set this for $200. So you can see I could only take this with 1 micro for my risk tolerance. So I only actually made about a 1.5R on this trade because basically I saw this, I entered with 1 micro just assuming we'd come and hit this high, and I basically just trailed it once we hit the 1R up to about 1.5R. So I made about $300 actually for $200 risk. Not the best RR, but you can see this strategy, guys, it's an absolute beast. I really, really hope that you learn something from this, and I hope that you're interested in joining the private community. We've had lots of people sign up recently and it's been really good. Lots of people talking about trading, lots of wins being taken in there. Please do like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, let me know your thoughts. Check back for daily updates, new videos every single day, and also get yourself involved in the private Discord. The WAP is down below. Thanks a lot.